America's Mayor Live, which I might just remind you began as a baseball show, which means if we do find ourselves going back and forth to the Yankee game, please don't be disturbed. It happens to be tied up right now. But, however, Ted, there is something of real importance. Breaking news.
That's right, Mayor. Breaking news. President Trump announces that Hamas has accepted phase 1. So has Israel to President Trump's peace plan.
I like the way you said that, too. I like the way you said that because phase 1 doesn't get you into all of the little nitty-gritties of the other 16, 17 points.
Right.
If they're following the script in the 20-point plan, this means that they have agreed to exchange all hostages. It means we get back, the Israelis get back the 28 dead bodies, including an American. They get back the 20 live Israelis, God willing, they're still alive. I don't believe that. And the Israelis give some inordinate, I don't even know what the number is, ridiculously large number of Palestinian terrorists back to Hamas. This has been a tradition with Israel for a long time. I love Israel. I'm not in their position. I do not second guess my allies when they have to fight their battle. I would not negotiate with terrorists. I believe over the long term, you lose more of your people than you save by doing that. But I may be wrong. I'm certainly not God by any means. And I am just happy if these hostages come back. Now, there's a lot more to the agreement after that. And it is interesting they said phase 1.
Right.
There's a lot that it's hard to see how either side can agree to what the other side wants. But we'll get to that in a little while as soon as we get more news on it. Okay.
Yep. We'll keep you up to date.
We're hoping to have Senator Johnson on, but he has to go for a vote.
Maybe he'll break some news for us tonight.
I wonder if the vote's on the shutdown.
Yeah, you would think they must be trying to.
I don't know. I mean, the shutdown is really down to one massive issue. It's massive because it could blow the hell out of our budget, and it could put us in a position where not only are we going to pass on our debt to our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, we're going to go great-great-great-grandchildren. We may go into the next century if they keep doing this. What the Democrat, please understand this. Nobody will explain this to you. Well, I shouldn't say nobody. People on our side explain this beautifully, but the prevailing media doesn't explain this. The Democrats want to extend the very special, enormously, ridiculously generous additions to Obamacare that were put there for the pandemic. First, to some extent by Trump, but hyped tremendously by Biden. The understanding was that they were only going to be for the period of the pandemic. The disagreement right now is not about basic Medicare or Medicaid, I'm sorry, basic Medicaid, or even about the Obama portion of it. It's about let's not even call it the Obama portion. Let's call it the pandemic bonuses that made it better to stay out of work than go to work. They want to continue that ad infinitum, which in the federal government means 10 years. They only passed it for 3. The Republicans don't want to agree to that. The Republicans want to agree to a clean, what we call a clean extension. This has been voted on 13 times before without any of these histrionics. And it would extend everything that needs to be paid. And they would spend the next couple of months fighting this out and thinking it out. The Democrats don't want to go along with that. They don't want to go along with it. And it seems like they believe they can cower the president into agreeing. I don't know why. The elections that are going to be affected by this are still a year off. Things could change mightily between now and then. And my advice, my friend, Mr. President, just stay where you are. You're in a good position. This isn't, don't confuse the polls that say that people want to extend medical care. They need medical care. They want Obamacare. Don't extend it to people want the tremendous amount of goodies, bread and circuses that was given to them based on the pandemic. Actually, the polls are against people wanting to continue that. People are smart enough to know that that could destroy them. And it's a subtle difference. You got to look at the polls carefully. I have. And it's a risk worth taking. It's also a risk. Now, this is between you and me. Don't tell anybody, okay? Hey, you got a whole long time to the next election. You can always reverse it if you have to. See how it goes down. You might educate the American people. Take them up a level on economics. Honestly, I think they're there. But if I'm wrong, you have a chance to fix it politically. So there's absolutely no reason to agree to what the Democrats want. None, zero, none. Just keep cutting. Cut. You can't cut the federal government enough, Mr. President. I'm sorry. No matter how good you are, nobody can cut the federal government enough. It's too big, it's too wasteful, it's too corrupt. It's been too bloated over, starting with Woodrow Wilson and through all the communist influenced Democrats and even some of the carryover to Republicans who wanted to play copycat. I don't know what game Marjorie Taylor Greene is playing. People in her district need it. You can't destroy an entire economy for some people in your district. Marjorie, why don't you go raise money for them? A lot of people would be happy to give them some extra money if they're poor people and they need help. You don't screw an entire economy because of that. Well,
very well said, Mayor.
Thank you, Ted. Every once in a while, I'm coherent. I don't think the Democrats agree with that, though. Thank God. If they did, I'd feel
yeah, you were
very, very bad. You have no idea of how opposite I am of whatever they think can affect you, which is why I was so successful. I don't think they ever affected me because I was trained by Ronald Reagan. I wasn't trained by him. I copied it from him. Ronald Reagan said one thing early on when I worked for him that just blew up in my head. And Bill Smith, who was my immediate boss, told me it was true over many years. He said, he reads the New York Times, skims it every day. And as long as he's knowledgeable, doing the opposite of what they're recommending, he's on the right course. You know how true that is? Simplistic but true? Boy, is it true. Yes, sir, it's true. So it looks like we are going to have deported 600,000 illegals this year.
Wow.
Okay. That does not count the ones who voluntarily left, which I seem to think, okay, that's 2 million.
That would make sense.
Now, the impact of the mass deportation has been even larger, with more than 2 million illegal immigrants leaving the United States since January. ICE agents and other federal officers have also arrested more than 457,000 immigrants. Now, some of them are probably in the 600,000, but not yet. So if this is correct, we got rid of 2.6 million illegals. So the number that we took in was a minimum. I'll really give you the widespread that exists depending on a lot of the politicians. And see, I want to know what it really is, but you can't figure it out because everybody spins it. The unrealistically low number that Biden escorted across the border, honestly, is about 10 million. The maybe unrealistically large number, but still defensible, is 20 million. Could we say 15 as the number in the middle?
Yeah.
So this is a good year, right? We got rid of 2.5 of the 15. Not necessarily one for one, meaning these could be people that came in earlier. They're not part of the 15, but they are part of the entire package of illegals that distorts our economy, distorts our society, has become, with this group, a much bigger criminal problem than the earlier immigrants. So that's a pretty good reduction in 1 year, just getting started. And I like the 2 million self deportations. That's a lot of people who bought into get the hell out, and then you have a chance to come back in a lawful way. I didn't know how that would work. I don't think you did. And 2 million seems like a good number, Ted, right?
Yes, I agree.
So it's it's probably not 10 million. Probably got to be at least 12. That's a little under 10%. That's not bad. That is not bad. Also, the illegal crossings across the Mexican border plummeted to a 55-year low in 2025. 55-year low in 1 year. And tell me they weren't being escorted in. Of course they were. Of course they were. So in case you want to go with the New York Times garbage, bullshit, and silliness, that these people are really all honest people and stuff. A Latin King gangbuster who put a bounty out to kill Border Patrol Chief Gregory Movino, which is $10K if you take him down. Juan Espinoza Martinez, who is 37-year-old Mexican, who came into this country illegal, and we don't know how. Now, I have hammered this home, but you may not remember. This is the reason why I can't tell you how many there are, because I don't know how they came in. Could be a number as large as 4 or 5 million. That is not at all exaggerated. I can show you studies done by Ivy League universities that would support that. Doesn't necessarily mean it's true. It means they want to do a worst case scenario to know what we're facing. That could be what we're facing. But in any event, this is a big deal. Juan Espinoza Martinez, who is one of the top Latin kings, who was living in the U.S. illegally, was nabbed Monday in Burr Ridge, a Chicago suburb, a place that the governor and the mayor don't want the federal government to be. In other words, they would prefer to keep the head of the Latin kings in Chicago and Illinois, Fatso Pritzker, and a dummy Brandon, the dumbest man in Chicago. But are they
Johnson.
dumb or are they corrupt? I don't know. If you don't want to join the federal government in helping to arrest and remove from your society the head of the Latin kings, you're a crook. Am I wrong, Ted? I mean,
Not at all.
I mean, when I used to go after the mafia, I never had anybody come to me and saying, I don't want the federal agents to come in and get the mafia out. I think if I did, President Reagan would have declared a civil war.
Right.
He would have said, you seceded from the Union. We're going to take over.
Right. Talk about an insurrection.
Aren't they engaged in a real insurrection? Isn't when the mayor of Chicago and ICE asking for help from the police didn't get it? What the hell is that all about?
That's
What's that all about? Or the mayor says you can't come into certain parts of Chicago, or you can't come into certain parts of Illinois. It doesn't belong to Illinois or Chicago alone. This is one Didn't we settle this and lose 600,000 people doing that? What side were you on, Illinois? It seems to me you're on the other side of that one. What do you think Abraham Lincoln is thinking about his?
He wouldn't even recognize the place.
I think Abe is going like this.
Right.
Those two guys.
Right.
Also, they're so dumb. He probably couldn't even have a conversation with them.
Right.
So this guy, by the way, put out a bounty. This guy put out a bounty to kill
Wow.
the head of ICE,
Right.
Gregory Bovino. 10,000 if you take him down. Cuando lo agarren. When they catch him. Cuando lo agarren. You get 10 grand. He's a cheap son of a bitch, I'll tell you that. The lowest I ever got to was 400 grand. That was Carmine Persico. He offered 400 grand to kill me. And they had originally, the Sicilian Mafia had offered 800 grand to kill me. And after 4 years of tremendous work and putting hundreds of them and into the thousands, if we count Italy, in jail, Carmine offered only 400 grand to get me killed. I was a little insulted that my value went down. But 10 grand, come on, you cheap little bastard. So they placed only a $2,000 bounty for his capture. That must make the little Latin king feel like a little shit. Look at him. He's a little piece of crap. Juan Espinosa Martinez, living in the U.S. illegally, we don't know how long, because we had no border protection. Could be we escorted him in. We may have, the Bidenistas may have escorted him in. And I don't know how many guys this guy killed, but he was offering 10 grand to kill Gregory Bovino, who is the head of ICE in Chicago, who is doing a terrific, they are kicking the living daylights out of Chicago. 600,000 removed this year, 1.2 million voluntarily taken off. At some point, we may actually, despite the Democratic Party, make Chicago safe. We might. Don't you think?
I think it's
I mean, they're working against us.
Right. At which point do we say enough is enough? I mean, they went after so many Republicans, including non-elected officials, for a lot less.
I do not understand why it isn't secession. When they say that the ICE can't come in here, or ICE can't come in there, or ICE can't come in here, who do they think they are?
Right.
Illinois doesn't exist there isn't Illinois on its own. It's part of the United States of America.
That's right.
And immigration law is a province of the federal government, not the state government.
Right.
It would be like the United States having somebody who committed murder in New York and saying, we're not going to give him back to you because we don't like New York. We'll give him to Massachusetts. Well, no. We'll give him to someplace that'll burn him.
We should put this together, Mayor, with your legal acumen. We put the elements together, right? That's how the law works. Secession is defined as such. We can look at what this mayor
looking at it
and governor is doing. Yeah,
I know they're looking at it. I think they want to suck them in. Well, I shouldn't say suck them in. They want to see how more. I think you got California and you've got Chicago that technically one could say has seceded in certain areas of the state or city. New York a bit, and not Adams' fault. The fault of the city council. Adams has fought that. I think they want to see it a little wider. The mayor in Boston is just as bad. She's another secessionist. And, it's funny because the overriding media doesn't see it that way. They don't explain it to the American people that way. But it's a pretty obvious thing that if you're going to take a section of your city or state and say the federal government has no right to come in here, you've seceded from the United States of America. I'm here in Palm Beach, right?
Right.
I'm subject to the laws of Palm Beach, town, a lot of laws, Palm Beach County, the state of Florida, and the United States of America. Really, in the other order, because federal law is superior. So you can't say, oh, well, we're going to decide. Governor DeSantis can't say, oh, I'm going to decide that in Giuliani's apartment they can violate all the federal laws. He just declared a secession from the United States. Do you understand that? I mean, what are the Democrats doing to us? They are destroying the fabric of our nation. Well, Texas has now sent another couple of hundred National Guard to Chicago. Chicago and Illinois have filed a lawsuit against Trump for mobilizing these people as patently unlawful. Now, I don't know what crooked Chicago judge will get this case. I am convinced that the chance of getting a decent decision in Chicago is about as good as the New York Supreme Court with Bruce Wright's son as the guy appointing the people on the court. But by the time we get up, this is an easy situation. The president is using the National Guard not to overcome a state, overwhelm. He's using it to protect his ICE agents. They have refused to protect them, which I think means they should all be arrested, but they've refused to protect the ICE agents. What's he going to do? Let them get killed? So he's bringing a National Guard. He can pick anyone, but why not pick one that appears to have more of a situation where they be loyal to the United States of America, Texas? And he's sending them to Chicago. By the way, I believe that the Chicago police and the Chicago National Guard and the Illinois National Guard would all do the same thing if they weren't run by, what would you call Brandon and Fatso? What are they? Do we know enough about them to know, are they communists? Are they anarchists? Are they
insurrectionists?
Stupid idiots?
Yeah, they're well, we know Pritzker wants to be president, right? He's involving himself with all these national issues.
That's a joke.
Right.
Pritzker being president is a joke.
Right. But you know, he's involving himself in these issues. He's picking fights with Texas, and meanwhile, his state's more gerrymandered than Texas ever could hope to be. And Brandon Johnson, as Rob Schmidt, our friend, so correctly pointed out,
that was a great.
Chicago, they seem to elect the dumbest people in town.
No, what he said was, in Chicago, they seem to elect the dumbest man as mayor.
Yes. We like that one.
I don't know why I like that one. I do. I like that one a lot. That's very funny.
Right.
I thought that was very funny. In Chicago, they seem to elect the dumbest man as
or woman. I guess the previous one.
In the case of the other
Lightfoot. Lori Lightweight as
Lori Lighthead.
Yeah. That's the best impression.
This guy, you know, this guy is amazing. He was on today and he was being asked a question. And he stood there like this.
Brandon Johnson. Oh yeah, we played that last night. Let's see if we can find that. Well, you couldn't answer.
You know that the University of Chicago is considered one of the great educational institutions in the United States. I believe it is not, nor do I think Harvard is or any of the others. I think the statute of limitations has hurt me, and my daughter would probably testify against me because, unlike my son, she's on the other side. But I want my money back from Harvard.
You deserve.
I don't think they give an education in anything having to do with the things that you need to know to lead a good, decent, productive life. I think they're basically a massive, snooty brainwashing society. I don't think the University of Chicago is any better, even though my first boss in the Justice Department was the president of it. Iman Abdel Hadi is an associate professor in the Department of Comparative Human Development. Now, first of all, if you have a Department of Comparative Human Development, you're really not a college. You're a bullshit, left-wing, woke, silly little organization where you're going to give people A's because how do you comparative human development? This is before they learn that Asia is on one side of the world and North America's on the other side of the world. They have it all like back. They don't know geography. They couldn't tell you who the fifth president was. But they're gonna study comparative human development, which means they're gonna study BS, right? So he got arrested for aggravated battery during one of these riots or whatever the hell they have by the Cook County Sheriff's Office. This is a professor.
Oh, we got to find that. I think it's on video.
His name is Iman Abdel Hadi, and he's been, of course, for some time, been an enemy of the president and the United States. So this is not a joke. The reason the president is deploying the National Guard is to protect ICE. He has agents and thousands of them in the field. They are diligently trying to enforce the law of the United States, which means if you want to come into the United States, you have to announce who you are, and you have to give us a chance to check you out to make sure that you are not a rapist, a murderer, a communist, a socialist, a Islamic terrorist, a pervert, a human trafficker. We have a right to find that out before you come in. If you don't think that we have a right to do that, why the hell don't you go to Russia? Huh? Why don't you get the hell out of here? I mean, you're so stupid or so evil that you don't belong here. Of course, a decent society has the right to decide who walks through their door. I have to let everybody walk through my door. Some savage monster who wants to kill my children comes in. I got to let him in because you tell me to let him in. No, the way America is built, I can put a bullet in him.
Right. Stand your ground, or castle doctrine.
Yes, of course.
Stand your ground. Some of those.
Second Amendment.
Second Amendment. But under the Biden administration, that even before that, even under, it seems that for years, right, we just had to shut up and take it. And if you ever questioned the level of immigration or the open borders, you were a racist. Or remember that word, xenophobic?
Yeah. I had to look it up.
Yeah, that was xenophobia. 2016. Some of the xenophobia.
They described the symptoms, and I knew I had it. So I went to the doctor to ask if there's an antibiotic or something. And he didn't have one. I ended up being a xenophobic. I'm still not sure what that is.
Yeah, they came up with a few of those
words.
Said
something about, do you love your country? Do you think that you may actually like pass the line and love your country too much? How about that? Xenophobic.
Yeah.
You're xenophobic, you son of a bitch. You're xenophobic.
Yeah, right.
So Rich Lowry, great column in the Post on how the National Guard has to be deployed in order to protect the lives of our ICE agents. There's no doubt about it. This is not a federal takeover. Although I think if they keep seceding, there may have to be. I thought Bondi, had a great day.
Oh, that's
yesterday.
Right.
Not as good as Judge, but a good day.
Aaron Judge.
Judge
for those non-baseball fans.
Aaron Judge was 3 for 4. She was 3 for 3. She knocked out White House.
We're gonna bring these up here.
Durbin and then she wiped out the entire Democrat Party.
Right, and we've got the video proof. So this is Attorney General Pam Bondi. She was on Capitol Hill yesterday, and of course, these Democrats, that's what they love to do. They love getting their 2 minutes of fame on the.
She's so much smarter than they are.
On their TV here. So this is Pam Bondi on Capitol Hill. So we'll play the first one we have. This is her going toe to toe with, oh, this guy. This one's a real beaut. Senator Whitehouse. Now, Whitehouse is from Delaware, I believe.
No, he's from up
Rhode Island.
Rhode Island. Yeah,
I get those two states
Sheldon Whitehouse.
Confused. So here's Sheldon Whitehouse.
He's a silly boy.
Yeah, here's Sheldon Whitehouse.
One of Epstein's closest confidants, not only once but twice, and you took money, I believe, did you, from Reid Hoffman? One of Epstein's closest confidants, not only once but twice in 2018 and 2024, if that's correct.
So that was a shortened version of it.
Ted, what was this about?
So this is, and let's see if we can get a longer clip from that.
What was this about?
That's Whitehouse. You know, these Democrats all of a sudden care about the Epstein list, right? All of a sudden now they care about.
I think I am, without exaggeration, I've questioned 2,000 witnesses.
Sure. Throughout your career, yes.
Guy's a complete liar. Put him on again.
Let's see. I'm trying to find you the longer version because it's
the minute you started doing that on me, I had you. The minute you started doing this.
Yeah, we're trying to get you the longer version.
Also,
here we go.
Sheldon Whitehouse is a Newport. Give me my little yacht. Sissy boy. Watch Sissy boy.
There's a longer version of this.
When Pam Bondi, who's tough as nails,
right,
gives him a poke in his stupid nose.
That Jeffrey Epstein showed people photos of President Trump
Watch him reading.
with
He's reading.
half-naked young women. Do you know if the FBI found those photographs in their search of Jeffrey Epstein's safe or premises or otherwise? Have you seen any such thing?
You know, Senator Whitehouse, you sit here and make salacious remarks, once again trying to slander President Trump left and right, when you're the one who was taking money from one of Epstein's closest confidants, I believe, I could be wrong, correct me, Reid Hoffman, who was with Jeffrey Epstein on multiple occasions. And the senator sitting right next to you tried to block the flight logs from being released. Yet you're grilling me on President Trump and some photograph with Epstein? Come on.
The question is, did the FBI find those photographs that have been discussed publicly by a witness who claimed Jeffrey Epstein showed them to him? You don't know anything about that?
That was great.
This happens to be an area where I have all of the facts, because when Epstein came up, although I was representing the president to defend him against impeachment, which we did, Jay Sokoloff and I, successfully, we had to be ready for other things. And Epstein came along. So I took a little detour, went down to Palm Beach, went off to two other places, which I won't tell you. And I found the evidence that the president threw him out of Mar-a-Lago, and exactly how he threw him out and why he threw him out. And I went through the logs. And first of all, our present president of the United States never, ever took a trip on the Epstein plane to the pervert island, ever. He took 2 trips on Epstein's plane when they were friendly, when he was a member of Mar-a-Lago. This goes back to 1996, 97, 98, 99, before he got in trouble. The 2 trips were, he borrowed his plane to come back to New York, as happened many, many times between the members. So I'm going back to New York. My plane is being serviced, and I call my secretary and I say, "Is there any of the guys have a plane going back?" And on 2 occasions, and believe me, there were about, this is 2 out of maybe 50, where other people did it 10 times, 12 times. So he wasn't like his closest friend. He used Epstein's plane directly to New York, off the plane, nothing to do with Epstein. Other than that, he's never been on Epstein's plane, never been to Pervert Island. Now, Clinton has been to Pervert Island so often that he could probably map it for you. But they don't want to know about that.
Well, Mayor, we have a very special guest, not to shift gears here on such short notice, but we want to be respectful of his time as I believe he just left the floor of the Senate for some votes. Your good friend, a great senator. As you know, I love the state of Wisconsin. They have a football team there that one of us is a big fan of. Senator Ron Johnson of the great state of Wisconsin. And we've got the senator on now.
Senator?
Well, Mr. Mayor, how are you doing?
You're working hard, huh?
Well, we're in the midst of this ridiculous situation. Yeah, if you want to call that work.
Which one? Which one?
The shutdown showdown. Everybody thinks this is dysfunction, and it is. But I'm here to report this is a well-honed process by the big spenders in both parties that they've used to mortgage our children's future, to land us in $37 trillion in debt. That's just the reality here, okay? So this is ridiculous. It doesn't have to be this way. By the way, I proposed eliminate Shutdowns Act. Every big spending Democrat voted against it. Again, it makes perfect sense, right? Just
of course.
If you haven't funded government, you don't shut it down. You just continue spending at last year's levels, okay? Unfortunately, Mr. Mayor, we had Republican appropriators also vote against it because they said it was going to undercut the appropriation process. And let me describe this process that I'm supposedly undercutting. I've been here 15 years. We should have passed 180 appropriation bills before the start of the fiscal year is going to fund, right? 180. You know how many we've passed? 6. That's a 96.7% failure rate. That's the magical appropriation process that the Eliminate Shutdowns Act, which would eliminate shutdowns for all time. Give the appropriators all the time they need to come together, find an agreement, pass appropriation bills, no drama, no shutdowns, no harming, people that work for the federal government, am I going to get a paycheck or not? Am I going to get be able to return to my job? None of that. We could eliminate all of it. Democrats, of course, opposed it. It should have been voted yes, by every Republican, but I'm sad to report it wasn't.
How far off were we, Senator?
Oh, Rand didn't vote for it because it didn't cut spending, which I actually respect.
Yeah, he may come along eventually.
Soon changed his vote so we can bring it back up. So we'll be voting on it again, but we had 12 other, mostly appropriators, who listened to the chairperson and said, "Oh no, this would be bad for the appropriation process. We can't have that." And again, an appropriation process that, since I've been here, has failed 96.7% of the time. And let's face it, they like the shutdown drama because they can set a CR up against a holiday, take the time to have a couple people write a 2,000-page appropriation bill, slam it on our desk, say, well, vote for this, let's pass this, or else we're keeping you over Christmas. So that's been the game they've been playing for 15 years while I've been here, and probably before that.
Senator, I got to take you to the other subject.
Okay.
Are you confident that we're going to get all the facts out on what happened to you? I'll put you and Senator Grassley in a special position. Everybody else was screwed around with too, but you guys were really you were specially targeted by Biden.
Yeah,
and then so were the others, and I was too. So is it? Are we going to get the FBI ready to get it all out?
I sure hope so. I know a lot of people have been calling for a special counsel or a criminal investigation. Right now, I don't want that because my experience in investigating federal law enforcement for 10 years and understanding the corruption, the minute there's a criminal probe, the minute there's a special counsel, we have no access to records. We have no access to witnesses. Okay. And then what happens, mean, John Durham, again, I think an honorable person. I think a serious person.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
but he wasn't going to indict unless he can convict. You can't convict Democrats in D.C., right? So he didn't indict anybody. So all those years of effort, everything he uncovered, that just gets sealed up. We never get access to it, right? So no, I want an internal investigation by Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, Pam Bondi. I want them to find all the records. Senator Grassley and I, we've been requesting these records for Arctic Frost for months. So turn all these records that you find over to Congress. Let us sift through them. Let us hold hearings. Let us call witnesses, put them under oath. And then if we find criminal behavior, we refer it to the Justice Department. I think that's the process that ought to work out here. But, I'm often asked, when you found out about the fact that they snatched your phone records, what was your first thought? And I say, I wasn't surprised. Not at all. I mean, I've been doing this for 10 years. I've seen the corruption, the partisanship. So I wasn't surprised. Shocked. I mean, every American ought to be outraged.
Of course.
By this egregious violation of the breach of the separation of powers.
Well, I mean, you and Senator Grassley were especially targeted. And then so was everyone else, targeted in a lesser way, but also targeted. And it's the hallmark of a fascist regime. And we can't have that. I mean, it has to come out so it doesn't happen again.
Right.
I mean, that has to be our contribution, that we get it out so we can save our republic from this happening again.
Probably the most egregious example of targeting was when Senator Grassley and I both received together an unsolicited briefing in August of 2020. This is when we're in the midst of our Hunter Biden investigation, right? And the Foreign Influence Task Force came to brief us. We didn't ask for the briefing, didn't tell us anything we didn't know, but they were talking about, there may be some information that comes out about Hunter that we think is Russian disinformation, so ignore it. They knew they had their laptop, right? So they held this briefing to throw us off the track, number one. But number two, again, this is a secure briefing. Nobody should even know about it. In May of 2021, in the midst of my reelection effort, they leaked that to the media. We warned Senator Johnson about this Russian disinformation, to smear me. So what I keep saying, whether we can prosecute these guys, convict them of anything, there's no punishment that rises to the level of the damage that people like Comey and Brennan and Clapper and Strzok and McCabe, and I could go on, okay? Tim Tebow, Obama, Biden. There's no amount of penalty that can make up for the damage to our democracy, to these federal agencies, to our body politic. I mean, they interfered in our election to a far greater extent. I mean, Russia and China could only hope to interfere a fraction of what these criminals did to this country.
Yeah, and actually, a revelation of it in a fair, impartial, and strong way would be enormously helpful. If it was laid out so that honest people could have a chance to look at it, because we have a lot more access to things now than through the legacy media. So my view is, if we can't prosecute them all, let's at least get all the information out.
Right.
Because I think it'll inform the American people.
And I'd rather risk, I hate to say taint, but I'd rather risk a successful conviction by making sure that we have all the information,
100%,
all exposed, it's all laid out in a very organized fashion, day after day of hearings that, like the Watergate hearings. Chuck Grassley was actually right. This is way worse than Watergate.
Yes.
Watergate was a third-rate burglary of the DNC. This is the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, snatching records of sitting U.S. senators and one House member. It doesn't get worse than that.
Well, Senator, thank you from the bottom of my heart. As one of the people that's a victim of this, with many others, you're a hero, and God bless you. God bless you.
You've been targeted. You're far more victim. I hope you're recovering from your accident. You're looking good.
I am. I feel terrific.
That's good to see.
And you're a blessing. So God bless you and your family.
God bless you. Have a great evening. Take care.
Now there is a great senator. That's a guy like you got to put him in the top 10 senators. He and Grassley.
Top 2.
He and Grassley.
Yeah. Right.
What a pair of. Did we do our Bondi thing yet?
We started that, and then I saw him pop in, and I wanted
Okay,
to
so let's do
pull
our
him in.
let's show. She did White House pretty damn good.
We got White House.
Yeah, White House is asking her about Epstein, and then it turns out he got money from 2 different Epstein people, and then he didn't even have an answer to it. He's sitting there with his head down, going,
Right.
And so I wonder about Sheldon. I've always wondered a little. I know Sheldon. I've always wondered a little about Sheldon. I won't tell you what I wondered about.
Well, that is
let's go to
Dick Durbin. Is this even fair?
Dick Durbin.
Oh gosh.
Dick Durbin, who used to be Schumer's roommate until they had a fight.
Can you imagine? I don't want to imagine those two. Yeah, I can't even imagine
scratching each other.
imagine Chuck Schumer and Dick Durbin fighting. I don't want to.
They go like this.
So here is Senator Durbin. Man, has he lost a step? I'll let you decide.
Did he ever have one?
White House, they are going to transfer Texas National Guard units to the state of Illinois. What's the rationale for that?
Yeah, Chairman, as you shut down the government, you voted to shut down the government, and you're sitting here, our law enforcement officers aren't being paid. They're out there working to protect you. I wish you loved Chicago as much as you hate President Trump. And currently, the National Guard are on the way to Chicago. If you're not going to protect your citizens, President Trump will.
The word is, and I think it's been confirmed by the White House, they are going to transfer Texas National Guard units to the state of Illinois. What's the rationale for that?
Yeah, Chairman, as you shut down the government, you voted to shut down the government, and you're sitting here, our law enforcement officers aren't being paid. They're out there working to protect you. I wish you loved Chicago as much as you hate President Trump. And currently, the National Guard are on the way to Chicago. If you're not going to protect your citizens, President Trump will.
The word is.
Did they have to take him to the hospital after that?
That was like, it's not even fair.
I mean, she's not a big woman. When we have Cora on, Cora was a boxing champ, right?
Yeah.
When I say, you don't have to worry about being out there in the dark. You hit them with one shot, they're going to go down.
Yeah.
Pam is like she's a little beautiful lady, but man, she knocked him out. Let's do the last one. This is the shutdown one.
So, and this one is with, Amy Klobuchar.
Oh, there's another Democrat.
We're gonna start calling this getting bondied.
Yeah.
She got bondied.
Personnel decisions, but the personnel issue that I'm having right now is that all of my agents, all of my lawyers are working. My agents are on the street working without a paycheck because your party voted to shut down the federal government.
She didn't have much of an answer to that other than.
Right.
So we want to get people over to Dr. Maria.
We do.
So I'm going to run through the things that I think people need to know. And then some of these things we can pick up tomorrow and go into more detail. Okay. Right. So we talked about how terrible the Democrat candidates are. Could there be anyone worse than the candidate for my former job? Zohran Mamdani. Zohran Mamdani dedicated yesterday, October 7, which is the anniversary of Hamas's attack on Israel, to attack Israel. On October 7, 2 years ago, the Israelis did not practice genocide on Hamas. They've never done that, but Hamas came into Israel, killed 1,200, almost exclusively civilians, a large percentage women and children. They raped them. They took video of the rapes in order to embarrass them or shame them or whatever, because they don't really care how much proof there is that they're animals and terrorists, because the world is with them. You ask me to explain that? I can. Go read Karl Marx. Meanwhile, this guy who wants to be mayor of what is possibly the largest Jewish city in the world, hates Jewish people. It's deep in his soul. It's a sickness. Anti-Semitism is a sickness that has broken out at various times in our civilization, and it's one of our worst sicknesses. It's a couple thousand years old. This guy's got it really bad, because if you can spend October 7th explaining to me how terrible Israel was, when all that happened on October 7th is that 1,200, mostly women and children, were killed, raped, tortured, and beaten. And hostages were taken, including Mr. Mondami, Americans. Americans not like you, loyal to America, not Americans born in Uganda who are still Ugandan citizens. Do you know that Uganda executes gays, Mondami? What kind of freaking creep are you? You're a citizen of a country that executes gays? And all the gays in New York are going to vote for you? Come on, guys. Or women, or whatever the hell. Wake up. So Mondami spent yesterday attacking Israel on a day in which Israel was attacked. I mean, it's really, can I give you the quote of Jeffrey Weisenberg? Jeffrey Weisenberg is an old friend of mine. We've had him on.
Yeah, I remember.
We should have Jeffrey on again, because Jeffrey doesn't mince words. Here's his quote on the guy who's the leading candidate for mayor. He's a scumbag. That's why I like Jeffrey. He doesn't mince words. The New York City Jewish Community Relations Council member Michael Nussbaum, Mondami is still using inflammatory language against Israel and the Jewish people. I mean, if you want to attack Israel for what you believe is their share of the burden of this, if that's what you believe, yesterday was not the day to do it. Yesterday was not a day in which anything that Israel did justified killing their women and children. Nothing justifies killing people's women and children, except if you're a maniacal terrorist group like Hamas is. And similarly, all the protests yesterday were not about the unbelievably barbaric Hamas terrorist group, but about Israel. Israel wants to wipe them out. Well, we wanted to wipe out the Nazis. I want to wipe them out. I'm not Jewish, but I feel for them. If I were Jewish, I'd go there and kill myself. I'm going to let a group of people exist that have vowed to eliminate my people, my children, my grandchildren, my relatives. What am I, crazy? I got the opportunity to eliminate them. You have got to eliminate them. You don't want to. If they would stop, great. And now we have a peace with them, so-called, but it's a one-part peace. The peace is the first phase, which is they stop fighting and they exchange hostages, which means we get back 20 live bodies and 28 dead bodies. Those dead bodies will include Americans. Exactly why we're being so nice to them, I can't figure out, because they killed a lot of Americans, but okay. Let's see what happens after that. So, Ted?
Mayor.
How's the game doing?
Let's see. So we're checking into the game. It is the bottom of the sixth.
Okay.
2-1 Toronto. Yankees up to bat.
How did that happen?
I missed it, but
of course I
we'll
wasn't
soon
looking.
watch. Yeah.
I
But
wasn't
remember
paying
last
attention.
night you were so net. We were getting off the air. It was 6-1, and we thought it was all over.
Well, 2-1. 2-1's not. It's not all over at 2-1.
No, 6-1 last night.
So what do you think is necessary for us to cover before we send them over to Dr. Maria,
Whew. Well, obviously we have
who is going to spend a lot of time on these issues?
right. So of course we covered Bondi, Arctic frost, the government shutdown. Great interview with the senator. Just a few minutes left here. I mean, I guess we come back to the deal that President Trump says Israel and Hamas had agreed to. Phase one, we're told that there are 48 remaining hostages, both alive and deceased. The live hostages, I believe 20 something. I'll get that number.
20 live, 28
At least there's
dead.
is that what you've read?
Well, that's what they say.
Yeah. So the live ones are expected to be returned to Israel within the next 72 hours. And the holdup for some of the remains of the deceased hostages, I think we should refer to them as murdered, not deceased, right? They were murdered hostages. Taking a little longer because Hamas says some of these remains are located in areas that they no longer control. That's how they worded it. What that tells me is that they just don't know where they are. They've lost them.
You think they're
Let's
going to come up with 20 alive?
that's what we are waiting on within 72 hours, we're told.
So here's a nice picture from the Post of my candidate, Rudy Baxlewer. There's my friend Curtis. He's your hope. He's your hope. I know some people think that Curtis, a lot of people tell Curtis he shouldn't wear his little thingy here. We had him on. We'll have him on again next week.
Yeah.
Maybe at the end of this week, we'll have him on again.
Yeah, maybe we got to have him on more.
But this is an extraordinarily intelligent guy, and he's been through a lot. And he knows everything I did. So he has the benefit of having seen the turnaround and how you do it. Kind of very, very courageous guy. Not going to be bullied. And I would say, should he get elected, oh gosh, if God did a miracle, he has a tougher job than I had. It's tougher now because the city has become considerably more left-wing insane than it was when I was the mayor. Not so much the city as the city council. What has happened is there's some political experts and some of the people who do polling who would say the city has become that much more left-wing crazy than, let's say, when I ran for mayor 25 years ago, 30. I'm not sure that's true. I think the city's become lazier. They don't vote more. I think all those people who don't vote would vote for Sliwa or for me. That's what I knew when I ran. I had to get the Republicans to vote fine, but they were a shrinking group, and they're even a bigger shrinking group now. But I had to get the people that didn't think it mattered. Oh, we can't. It's not going to matter. The Democrats are going to win all the time. They've been winning for 170 years. It's not going to matter. You gotta get them. And we're going to keep working on that. I'm not giving up on my city. I'm just not, because this guy will take it from me. The mayors in New York, there have been some pretty bad ones. Over the 170 years of Boss Tweed to now, you can't believe the atrocities that Democrats have accomplished in New York. This guy will be unlike any other. We haven't had a true Marxist as mayor. And they are unbelievably destructive, atheistic murderers. He's a citizen of Uganda. They kill gay people. You want him as your mayor? There he is. See? He's got about as phony a smile as the other jackass. Look at the hair coming out of all the different sides of his face. Man, where do we find these people? Well,
Lindell TV time.
I am glad that Ron Johnson
Oh, what a
got
patriot.
reelected. He didn't get any help from the Republican Senate people. He had to do it on his own with Grassley. Also, Mayor Adams wants to landmark the 2 Columbus statues in New York. One is the more famous one in Columbus Circle, but the other is in Queens, and it's actually quite a beautiful statue. It's right near a very, very famous Italian restaurant in Queens, not far from Citi Field. And I think that's this one.
Oh, and check that one out. If it's by Citi Field, that means it's by LaGuardia.
Yeah. A great Italian restaurant there too. I'll get the name of it tomorrow. Fabulous.
Yeah, that's the
Italian.
real reason, right? We want,
Yeah, but I mean,
and we want to see the statue. I know. But do you think
So
Eric Adams would have done this 4 years ago?
I think Mastro is pushing him. My old deputy mayor, his deputy mayor, Randy's Italian American.
Yeah.
Randy's not gonna let them give up Columbus.
Yeah.
Screw them. Last thing. Did you know, and Isaac Shore pointed this out in the Post, that 2 people were born on the same day. George Floyd. When you think of George Floyd, what do you think of? You think of the martyr to white supremacy that justified killing 27 people, destroying $1 trillion in business, putting people out of work forever, putting about 2,000 people in the hospital, killing 5 or 6 cops. But he justified it because he was so unfairly killed, George Floyd. Or do you think about a guy that spent his entire life as a criminal? Career criminal would be too mild the description of him. There didn't seem to be a day that he didn't commit a crime. Beat the living daylights out of his wife and his kid. He was, although, I mean, God would probably not agree with this, but he acted more like an animal than a human being, and he was an unbelievable danger to his own family. And he got killed by the police in a highly confusing situation in which actually the medical examiner said he died of the toxins that he had in the system, meaning he was once again, as he often had been, overdosed on drugs. Now, he has statues all over America. Black kids are being told that he should be their hero. In other words, you should grow up to be a bum who gets killed by the police, justified or not. You should be a miserable wife beater, woman beater, drug addict bum whose family doesn't want you around, that becomes a hero because he is, by one side, claimed to have been killed by the police unfairly, by the other, killed because he took so many drugs. He should be your hero. Do you think the people who project that love Black people? Or do you think they hate them in a certain way and want to keep them subservient to them because they think they're smarter, more powerful Black people? I mean, a lot of them walk off with 20, 30, 40 million, like Charlie Rangel, by subjecting their own people to brainwashing. Now, the other guy who was born on that same date was a little younger, and his name was Charlie Kirk. And he died in an unambiguous assassination situation. He didn't have any drugs in his system. He didn't fight with the cops. He didn't have a whole history of beating up his wife, beating up his children, terrorizing his neighborhood. He was killed because of what he believed in, which you may not believe in, or somebody else may, but that's why he was killed. And a lot of people were very upset about that. I was very upset about that. I mean, about as upset as I've been about any of these assassinations or murders, including Kennedy. I knew him better than I knew Kennedy. I didn't go burn somebody's building. Did I? I didn't go beat up a cop. Did any of my friends do that? Tell me the Charlie Kirk riot that took place. Would you like me to? I'll be on until well after Dr. Maria's show if I tell you all the George Floyd riots that took place and how they destroyed their own people. Now, which of those two things indicates something seriously wrong in our society that has to be corrected? Well, you think about that and we'll talk about it tomorrow night, okay? But it's a heck of a comparison. Thank you, Isaac, for focusing me on it. So pray for the people of Israel. I don't know. I'm skeptical. Let's hope it's a real peace. Pray for the people of Ukraine who are being left out a little. They need peace too. Iran needs to be free. We need to get an alternative political party to the Republican Party that's honest and decent and loves this country. We don't have that right now. And we got a president who's fighting all these battles, and we can agree with him and disagree with him in small ways, but he's a great president. So pray for him. He needs help from God. We all do. So we'll see you tomorrow night, 7 o'clock on
Lindell TV
and X, and then 8 o'clock on X. And let's see what happens with this truce. God bless America.
It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze. We are able to apply our God-given common sense. So let's do it.